Budgets. Let's start by looking at budget code maintenance. In here we can set up different budget codes, as many as we like for different circumstances that may arise. So for example, I have B1 set up here for a regular budget. I may want to add B2, for example, for a budget that assumes that we'll be obtaining a grant for which we've applied, and that might have a completely different effect on the budget figures that I wish to enter. Within each of these budget codes we can set up figures for each individual fund. To assist in the input of these budget figures we can also set up profiles. So if we have a look at budget monthly profile. So here for example is a quarterly profile, and here's another one which is a seasonal profile. This will allow you to enter an annual figure when inputting the budget itself and have it split according to the percentages that I have set here. You'll see how to use these in a minute. Right, now let's enter the budget figures themselves. So this is done through budget values. So first of all you select your budget code, so this is our regular budget, and then enter the year that you're going to enter the budgets for. And we start off with our donation received account, and if we now just click on display down the bottom, it's automatically jumped to our very first fund here, but we can use the arrows at the top here to go along to the fund we wish to change the budget figures for. So if we go to our general fund, now if we click on update down the bottom, there are three ways to enter the figures. Either you can manually enter them against the months here, or you could put in a year total and equally split that. So if we click on apply profile, it's now equally split our 12,000 through each of the months of the year. Alternatively, what we could do is apply a profile. So if we pick our quarterly profile that we looked at earlier, click on apply profile, and it's now split the year total according to the percentages of the quarterly profile. And then you just click on record. And you can move on to your next fund or your next account and enter another budget figures if you wish. You can just going back to budget values, you also have a values view option down the bottom here, which will control what's displayed. If all accounts is selected, then if a budget isn't set, you will still see the record. If you set the set values only option, it means you will only see accounts and fund codes that have budgets already set against them. If you're entering budgets against multiple account codes but for the same fund, then you could enter the budget this way. Select our budget code and our year again. This time select the fund code. So I'm going to enter the youth funds budgets here. Click on display. So that's taken me to the very first account code. So then I can update, enter all the figures, and then move along to the next account code. You'll see that the youth fund remains static here and the account code moves. So you can go along all your accounts and enter the relevant budgets. Another way of setting up your budget values is by using the Global Budget Values program. This is a great way of setting up a budget based on existing figures. So if we select the accounts we want to create the budgets for, so in this case I'm just going to select a range of codes. And now we need to specify a source from where the figures are to be obtained. These source figures can either be a previously set budget or actual accounts figures. In this case, let's suppose we are generating a budget from last year's budget. So we select our budget code, let's do it for our general fund, and I'm going to copy the budget that started in January and finished in December. Now moving over to our target, so it's still the same budget code. Still going to do it for the general fund, but it's going to be the budget starting in January next year. You can also apply a change. So in this case, I'm going to apply a 10% uplift to the budget. Therefore, next year's budget figures will be 10% higher than last year's. And then you just click on execute. Having generated these figures, bear in mind that this will cut out a lot of time inputting the budgets. I could use the budget values program we looked at previously to make any amendments.